Welcome to this video, and today in this video we will discuss 5 unknown or less known facts about the homosexual movement or the gender movement which everyone must know. Number 1, it is artificial. It is not natural. We are told that homosexuals and transgenders and people like them are born that way and we have to accept them, etc. and so on. And they quote scientific materials, research articles to prove their point that such a behavior is naturally occurring. But the reality is, every homosexual, like transgenders, gays and lesbians, they're born like a boy or a girl like we did, and they live their lives as a proper male or a female up to a certain point when they decided to pursue their errant sexual passions and they gave in to the temptations of it. And for every scientific material that they quote, we can quote equal amount of good quality scientific materials which deny and disprove their claim that these homosexual behaviors are naturally occurring, etc. And you have to understand, there is no consensus even among the scientific community, among the scientists, that this is natural and it has to be accepted. But for now, all I need you to understand is that one chooses to be a homosexual or a transgender or a gay or lesbian, and that it is not natural and there is no rational science behind it. And you will understand this as you watch this whole video. Number 2, their idea of gender is different from ours. We conclude the gender of a person based upon his or her physical features, and we consider the gender of a person and the sex of a person to be the same. But those who support homosexualism have a different belief. They believe a person's sex is different from a person's gender. A person's sex is what physical features his body shows, and a person's gender is what a person thinks about himself. Listen carefully. A person's gender is what a person thinks about himself. Number 3, there are many varieties of genders. You might be thinking that there are only 3 genders out there: male, female, and the third gender. Or if you have some awareness on this topic, you might be believing that there are quite a handful of genders out there, because in the public domain today, we are told that there are 3 genders or quite a handful of genders. But as Christians, we believe there are only 2 genders, male and female. But in the public sense, there is a understanding that there are 3 genders in common. But the reality is that there are numbers and numbers of genders, because there is no limit to what a gender can be. Hence, one's gender can be as much as one's imaginations would allow. And that is why we have people who identified their genders with well-known celebrities, well-known film characters, and they call themselves Elvis Presley is my gender, or they're of the Darth Vader gender, or they are Barbie genders. And there are many more strange, funny, and crazy gender names out there. Number 4 on the list, one can change his gender any number of times during his lifetime. And this is something you might not have expected. You might have thought that once a person chooses to be a gay or a lesbian or anything else, he stays that way for the rest of his life because he has found the gender that suits him. But that is not true. Again, as I said earlier, their idea of their gender is based upon their imaginations. And they believe this, that gender is fluid, it is prone to change over time, and it can be anything a person thinks about himself. So according to them, gender is not a permanent thing. It can change anytime and for any reason. So number 5, it justifies sexual crimes. And now you may not have come across these things. Again, as I said, anything that one's mind will allow can become one's gender according to these homosexuals. And therefore, even social evils can be and are currently being considered as an expression of one's gender, and they are being justified. Currently, it includes very vile and sinful social crimes such as adultery, every form of sexual immorality, and even the sexual abuse of children. And we will discuss more about these in the coming videos. But for this video, I want you to be informed that being a homosexual is not natural. They believe one's assumptions and imaginations can be one's gender. Number 3, there is no limit to how many genders that there are, and they change anytime they want. And number 5, it justifies even sexual crimes and sexual violence and all forms of immorality and sinful behavior. And that's it for this video. Stay tuned for more. Until then, God bless.